What's up, y'all? Long time no see. Cody Pop here has been working grueling hours, long nights, long days, putting together a little memoir of our trip over the last 8 months, overlanding around the country. For those that have dedicated their time and seeing some of that trip or all of the trip, we couldn't appreciate you enough. So we hope this brings back some good memories and shows you some of the cool places that we've been. For those that are wondering how a couple of degenerates on TikTok spend 8 months overlanding around the country, well, this is a little trip showing exactly what it is that we did. Without further ado, cheers. Now, Koda has a little introduction in here as well as a dedication. This is a story going from what's traditionally considered as an American dream to what we consider our American dream. Our American dream involves incredible views, peace and quiet, a dog, a human, and a truck. A place to drop our tailgate and sit in absolute solitude. In this part of the dream, we set out to achieve just that. Koda and I embark on an 8-month overlanding trip across the country, seeking some of what we consider to be the most incredible places that this country has to offer. And it all started in early September 2024 down in good old West Virginia. The story is dedicated to friends and family that have supported us over these past couple of years and beyond. We couldn't have done this without y'all, and from the bottom of our hearts, thank you and God bless. That was really nice, Koda. Really nice. Chapter 1, West Virginia, early September. Kicking off the trip with what we consider as the premier overlanding area on the East Coast, we gladly spend some time revisiting our favorite places in West Virginia, an area of the country that will always remain special to us and an exciting destination to revisit. However, time was ticking, and after a couple of weeks, we would need to truly start our journey and make a very lengthy drive straight to where we really wanted to be, and that was Wyoming. Chapter 2, Wyoming, middle September to late September. At the expense of missing my poor mother's birthday. Love you, Mom. We specifically picked this time to make the journey over in order to enjoy fall foliage, cooler temperatures, and the visually stunning scenery that graces those incredible lands. From pristine national forests to crystal clear, winding rivers with a front row seat to the majestic Tetons, and all the way up into the mountains to an old decommissioned fire tower, we had moments that will forever be burned into our memories. Wyoming is consistently regarded by us as the number one place we're always eager to return and explore. Koda and I knew, once again though, our time was limited. We knew there was more swimming, more off-roading, and most importantly, places to drop the tailgate and drink a beer in absolute and utter solitude. With eastern Idaho and southwestern Montana practically within eyesight, and the fall and early winter season quickly setting in place, we got our fill for a couple of weeks before moving onwards northwest. Chapter 3, Montana and Idaho, late September to early October. Once again, we did not get nearly enough time to explore this lightly traveled and jaw-dropping part of the country, but that's always what makes it more fun to go back. Along the Continental Divide, we got to weave in and out of Montana, as well as Idaho, through open meadows, mountain tops, completely dark skies, and absolute seclusion. Drives like these often send us into amazement that these trails are so lightly traveled, which is always selfishly preferred. That also leads us to why we gatekeep many of our spots. The places we go, they aren't secrets, but they are backyards to locals, and we like to respect that. Just ask yourself how happy you would be to see a couple of hooligans like us on social media dropping coordinates to places that you hold near and dear. Therefore, We're sorry in advance. Chapter 4. Quick dip into Utah and then Colorado. Early October to middle October. From the corner of those three amazing states, Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming, we made the incredibly scenic drive down to a pit stop in northern Utah for a quick dip in the water and a couple of nights listening to the subtle waves crash as we fell asleep. The theme throughout the trip will become quite obvious. Camping by the water always reigns supreme for us, especially Koda. Shortly after Utah, we broke into one of our favorite places in central Colorado, where Koda, yet again, got to go for a swim, and for the first time ever, we got an incredible viewing of the great northern lights. It can only be described as otherworldly, and certainly a highlight of the trip. We slowly made our way into western Colorado, still with our jaws dropped. We celebrated my birthday on October 13th, with an amazing hike down to a low valley with a picturesque stream running through the middle. Sitting there and reflecting, we both couldn't help ourselves, realizing how incredibly amazing and fortunate that exact moment was. Yet again, we knew more amazing moments were right around the corner, and we then took ourselves into Utah. Chapter 5. Entering Utah, late October to early December. We decided to focus on the southwestern area of Utah this time. From low desert drives and beautiful secluded bodies of water to an abandoned, yet once thriving waterside mill, we were still on cloud nine, feeling unstoppable. That, of course, was right before disaster struck upon our sweet Koda. She was hurt quite badly in an unprovoked attack, as we simply offered our help to jumpstart a vehicle way out in the desert. As we approached the vehicle, the dog escaped through one of their windows, and Koda bravely jumped in between me and the misled dog, while succumbing to several lacerations and tendon damage to one of her legs. I quickly washed out and wrapped the wounds and raced to the nearest vet, where they provided quick and incredible care and got her all patched up. Due to the incident, we bounced from southern Nevada back to southwestern Utah quite a bit, as we had weekly checkup appointments to make sure everything was healing up as it should. As she began to heal, I made sure to keep her wounds safe, comfortable, and clean, while still letting her heal in style. Many nights were spent in hotel rooms to provide a sterile area for airing out and cleaning the wounds. Yet I knew she still wanted many of those nights to be spent under the stars, and that's exactly what we did for the next several weeks, hoping to have her recovered for her birthday on December 3rd. Chapter 6. Southern Nevada and Utah Christmas, early December to late December. December 3rd came quickly, and it was the star of the show's birthday. Although Koda was healing quite well, it still wasn't good enough for her one and only wish, and that was to swim at one of our favorite bodies of water in Nevada. We began to cautiously remove her cast and allow her a bit more freedom to run, and then the rehab process began, which we knew would be long and grueling, yet she took it like a champ and with an inspirational amount of determination. We even found some bighorn sheep and burros to motivate her. From that point on, the trip began to regain some normalcy, and we knew soon that we would be able to continue on however we saw fit. We took one final drive in the area, only to stumble upon a lone, yet tall and proud American flag, way out in the high desert. It's exactly what we needed, to know that we're still on the right path and making the right decisions. We finished off the area of southern Nevada and our favorite bodies of water, only to have Christmas creep up on us quite quickly. So we packed up and began the lengthy drive north to ensure an appropriate Christmas setting. Chapter 7. Christmas in Utah, late December. The cool thing about being degenerates on social media and traveling is you get to drive to the weather system that you want to be in. Koda and I happened to have dreamt of a white Christmas this past year and decided to make our way into central Utah to make that dream a reality. I would say it couldn't have been written any better, but we did, in fact, write it into the equation and could not have been more pleased with the outcome. Christmas Eve was sunny and dry, only to have Christmas morning grace us with several inches of snow and sheer beauty. Being away from family is already the hardest part of these long trips, but if we had to be away from them, this is exactly where we wanted to be. It was short-lived, and although incredible, we knew we had to start making our way down into Arizona. Chapter 8. Entering Arizona and a detour to Death Valley, late December to early February. Our focus for returning to Arizona on this trip was to revisit some of our favorite areas of the past and also to explore new ones. We were greeted warmly by some free-range animals and again found some beautiful water to spend a few days by. The common misconception of Arizona being dry often surprises me, as that area boasts some of our favorite bodies of water in the entire country. It's especially incredible over the winter months, where you can find 70 and sunny or 20 in a blizzard. Now, we didn't find a blizzard. However, we did make our way towards Flagstaff for a nice little sip of whiskey, a campfire, and an overnighter under a nice snowfall. We were also fortunate enough to share some heart-shaped pizzas and celebrate Valentine's Day together, something that's become a little bit of a tradition over the past few years. That's when Koda had the bright idea to take the biggest detour of the trip yet and head back northwest to Death Valley. And boy, was it a fantastic little plan. Before finishing the Arizona section of our trip, we bolted towards the Forbidden Land. Several hours with our fingers and paws crossed that we could secure the famous geologist cabin for a couple of nights, which happens to be first come, first serve. Sure enough, it was all ours and turned into another top highlight throughout this trip. I also recommend never getting caught up in a card game with Koda, as she will take all of your belongings with no remorse. It was amazing getting to sit and enjoy this area, just thinking about what went on during past generations. Yet, again, it wasn't before long, Koda said we had to get back on the road and get back to Arizona. Chapter 9, rounding out Arizona, early February to mid-March. Koda's late nights of mapping and research, as well as her long snout and incredible sense of direction, brought us to an area over by eastern Arizona that we never had the pleasure of visiting, and man, it sure put a smile on our faces when we did. Higher elevation provided for some cooler weather, dry grass, and finally amongst some surely missed trees. We had absolutely amazing edge-of-the-rim campsites, as well as movie-like drives through open meadows and rolling hills. Those meadows provided what we deemed necessary for epic days, and that was wild horses gallivanting freely. It's one of the most majestic sights that we witness while on the road and can always sit there from afar and lose ourselves in time. Unfortunately, as we descended down the eastern side of Arizona to get ourselves back to some warmth, that's when the second unfortunate but expected incident occurred. Down in southeastern Arizona, while leaving a campsite in the desert, the truck was thrown into limp mode, so we limped at 20 miles per hour to the closest town 30 miles away and began diagnostics. Of course, for those with similar hobbies, you know it's never going to be the first, the second, or the easiest thing it should be. Therefore, we spent the next couple of weeks out in the desert, limping around, searching for the problem, only to finally conclude a signal wire from the pedal sensor to the engine harness to the PCM was compromised. We eventually bypassed said wire, and with all the free time we had on our hands, did some other preventative maintenance as well, in the tune of brakes and a wheel bearing. Finally, Koda back to full health and the truck as well, we realized the trip was quickly coming to an end, and we had to start our trek back east so we could visit with family on Easter. Chapter 10, the last leg, mid-March to mid-April. With an incredible sense of accomplishment, we knew that unfortunately we had to be brief with the last states that we were to visit on our way east. New Mexico was amazing per usual, from camping again right by the water to climbing one of the highest peaks that we will see for the foreseeable future. It provided a great start to the last stretch of what's already been one for the ages. We then made our way into Oklahoma, where Koda got to swim and I got to climb a very questionable fire tower. From there, it was a quick dip down into Texas, as we couldn't bring ourselves just to drive right on by. Soon after, we were brought back to another sneaky favorite of ours, and that's Arkansas. We enjoyed finding a couple new trails and some new waterways for us to take a much needed rinse in. We then intended on spending some time in western Kentucky at one of the places that really opened our eyes to overlanding. Sadly, Mother Nature had a different plan for us, and although we got to enjoy a few very nice days, severe weather struck the area and we were forced to leave early. Therefore, Koda made a pivotal decision to not only stop at one of our favorite lakes in Tennessee, but to continue even further east and finish off our trip somewhere that's always caught our attention, but we've never had the time or resources to visit. We packed the truck on a ferry and sailed off the coast of North Carolina to camp on the quiet shores of the Atlantic, with massive stretches of beach all to ourselves. Sounds of waves crashing consistently, yet peacefully as background noise, absolute solitude, and an incredible place to sit for several days while reflecting on the past 8 months. We even got to take a chili dip. The conclusion, mid-April. With nearly 8 months in the books, seeing everything from deserts to mountains to rivers, lakes, and oceans, sunshine and warmth to overcast and snow, and the inevitable heartache and complications, we both had our heads held very high, with a sense of accomplishment, reward, fatigue, and desire to replicate a trip in similar fashion at a later date and continuously explore, while treating the lands and animals with respect as well as dignity. It's sincerely been a dream come true for us, and both Koda and I, once again, cannot thank everybody for turning a pipe dream into reality. Although we have a lot of work to do in order to make this transition in life sustainable, the natural progression and the support of all the friends we made along the way allow us to look forward to many more trips in the future. Koda and I hope that our videos continue to brighten, motivate, and inspire, not just to take a wild leap of faith like us, but to discover the road less traveled. And perhaps your very own sliver of peacefulness within this incredibly vast and diverse country. For us, we prefer to sit in silence and find noise, rather than sit in noise and find silence. We hope y'all are able to find your silence in whatever way you see fit. Thank you again for everything, and we already cannot wait for the next trip. The end. That was really well written, Koda. Really well written. Well, we would like to thank everybody sincerely. It's been an absolute pleasure and a dream of ours. We hope that y'all had fun, and we cannot wait to do this again in the very, very, very near future. But until then, it's putzing around Connecticut and revisiting some of our old favorites. Getting the truck ready and planning out what's next. So until then, we'll see you guys around, and cheers.